Hi, and welcome to the podcast channel for podcastmybusiness.com.au and contentmadeeasy.com.au. And we've got Elise Balsillie. There we go. I knew I'd get it wrong.
You got it right.
There we go. Do I do it with a French accent, though?
You should originally, so that is where it came from.
There you go. And Elise is from Thrive. That's thryv.com.au. Most of us have heard of Thrive or come across Thrive, including for payment systems. I know I've come across you guys for that. And thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
No, thank you very much for having me on, Tony.
And what we wanted to cover today, there's a whole range of things that we can talk about. A lot of it is to do with technology and how technology can help businesses. But we'll touch a little bit about the evolution of Thrive and where you guys actually came from. And tell us a little bit more about the company history.
Yeah, no problems at all. So I've worked at Sensis for more than 20 years. Now, we were the directories company. And as you know, the print landscape wasn't a very exciting landscape. It was a declining business, but we had amazing relationships with thousands of small businesses right across Australia. For us back in 2021, we were fortunate enough to be acquired by Thrive, a global software as a service company supporting small to medium businesses, adapting their business and moving to the cloud. For us, it's been an incredibly exciting 4 years since that acquisition. We've been able to support so many small to medium businesses right across Australia with different tools and tech to be able to help support and grow their businesses. So definitely an exciting time to be in our business, and I think an exciting time to be in business in general.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we're jumping in straight away into some of the mega trends. And you mentioned the cloud, which we're talking before about SaaS, software as a service, which is effectively the cloud.
Yeah, correct. And I think for a lot of small business owners, the landscape has really drastically changed. I think when I started out in this industry 20 years ago, having a business card and maybe an ad in the phone book was enough to get you found. But if you look, and especially the younger demographic coming through, they want to be able to message you on social media channels. They want to be able to look at your reviews online on a multitude of different platforms. There are so many places that a small business needs to be found today that it becomes incredibly complex and incredibly time consuming for a lot of small business owners. By being able to utilize some technology to help drive automation and efficiency into some of those channels is one way that you can use software to be able to drive sort of efficiency so that you can spend the bulk of your time either running your business or at home with your family.
Yeah, exactly right. And there's some key ways that you can help, because I know you've got a suite of products. So what are some of the key ways that you can help?
So I think when we launched the Thrive brand here in Australia, we launched with a product called Business Centre that really helped drive the back office for a lot of small businesses. Throughout the COVID years, it was incredibly important that we could support them in driving that efficiency because we were going through lockdowns and a myriad of challenges that this was one way to alleviate some of that burden. We could follow up on their past due invoices and remind customers to leave a review at the end of that business transaction. But really, coming out of the back of COVID, the biggest trend that we're seeing at the moment is businesses are really wanting to grow. They're wanting to figure out that next step to be able to take their business to the next level. And I think now that we've supported them in driving efficiency into that back office, it really is a huge focus on growth that small to medium businesses are having at the moment. They're really wanting to be able to move from that sort of solo hustler. Maybe they've got one or two employees and really kind of navigate the pathway to be able to build consistent business in. And I think the challenges with spending money on things like a Google campaign is it costs a lot of money to continue to drive that repeat business. So can you do it in a way that is sustainable throughout that business growth trajectory?
Yeah, you're right mentioning Google. I mean, you do Google Ads. Like one of the things I do is Google Ads. And yeah, you've got to keep spending the money on that. But are people harvesting that information correctly to get that growth?
Absolutely. And I think that is the core piece because for a lot of small business owners, they're answering that mobile phone. So if you're thinking of a plumber or an electrician out on the road, they're answering the phone, they're booking into the paper diary, they're keeping themselves sort of surfacely busy. But what are they doing with those leads that are coming in? What are they doing with the leads that they don't convert into a customer? Are they continuing to kind of nurture them in the background and talk to them in the background? Are they emailing them out when they've got some capacity to run a special offer? And so I think it is that education piece, but doing it in a way that's really simple for business owners. They're experts at their craft. They don't want to become a software developer. So what they're wanting is something that's simple and elegant that they can use and they can navigate to help drive some of that efficiency.
Yeah. And you're talking about the plumber before, so what are some good case studies and good examples that you can let us know about?
Yeah, so I think there is a myriad of different case studies. I think I'm reflecting on an alterations company, Megan O'Dell Alterations over in WA, that I've been working with over the past couple of weeks. Now, Megan's business has been around for more than 20 years. She's a well established business in Fremantle. She has a number of staff working for her. But for her, a couple of years ago, she decided to embrace some technology. And to start with, it was just around online bookings. She was realizing that she was missing out on a lot of opportunity because people were looking at her site and looking at Google kind of reviews and things of an evening. She wasn't open, she wasn't there to answer the phone. And so for her, the very first step was her introducing a way for people to be able to make a booking online so that when she came into the studio the next day, all of her alterations appointments were fully booked. Now, fast forward a couple of years, and Megan is using Thrive in so many facets of her business. She's using it for marketing, she's using it for automation, she's using it to run campaigns and build out a CRM. But in a really short space of time, her turnover has grown 2.5% times, which is a huge kind of turnover change in a short space of time. And so by using technology for her and her business, it really has supported it in taking it to the next level. So I think there's lots of examples like that where you don't have to change the world tomorrow. And I think for a lot of small business owners, and if you use the example of Megan, if we spoke to Megan about implementing 10 different things all up front, it would have been incredibly overwhelming.
Mm.
But we focused on the biggest problem that she had in her business and we worked from there. So I think the beauty when looking at technology to be able to support you is it can be really overwhelming. But I would almost encourage business owners to sit back and have a think about what is the biggest pain point in your business today. If it is cash
Mm.
flow and people paying their bills on time, that is the one you tackle first and use that as a catalyst to be able to follow up on some automated bill reminders and follow up on your collections post process and drive a more streamlined process to encourage payments on time. And once that's solved, then you can kind of move on to the next thing. So I think the beauty of tech is there is tech to support small businesses doing a myriad of things, and it really is solving things kind of one step at a time.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were talking earlier about data, which is the true thing to do with generative AI. So, how do you help in relation to generative AI?
I was going to say AI in general for a lot of small business owners is incredibly overwhelming. It's a big term. AI is going to change the world, but for a lot of small business owners, on the surface, their business is going to appear as if it's running as it is today for a number of years. The reason that people deal with small businesses is because of the person at the end of it. They're the local coffee shop, the local Pilates studio, and that customer and human element is absolutely always going to be there. But it's what happens in the background that I think is the real beauty. And by using things like AI and even using it in a really simple way. So I think reviews for me is always one that people are daunted about. They don't want to jump online and respond to that negative review. But the reality is people are leaving reviews about your business, whether you like it or not. It's how you respond to that review and manage that experience that's really going to change the trajectory. And so, by using things like AI to help you craft your response so that it does appear professional and genuine, and I'm not suggesting that it's not a genuine response, but sometimes people will write those 4 or 5 bullet points down, and it's how you craft that into a narrative that can be really powerful. So,
Mm.
I think AI can be used in lots of different places. And I know we were kind of reflecting earlier whether it's used in your banking app or used in your accounting app. It is a big, scary term, but it's really what happens in the background. You're just using the data and insights that comes out the other side to really help power your business.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that really is the key point for everybody. It's not going to be Terminator. It's not going to. It is called that science fiction, but it's science fact. Is that it's a new way of looking at data and utilizing that data for your business and help your customers even more.
Absolutely. And it can be as simple as crafting an email and just making it have that professional flow to it, that you can use it in ways that are just simple ways to be able to drive efficiency, but also help you have that professional front.
Right. So, what should businesses focus on a little bit more specifically when it comes to technology? So, you mentioned before you focus on the biggest pain point, which is a great place to start. But what other aspects should businesses look at?
I think the other one that I tend to come across is that people invest in lots of different bits of tech. They've got a subscription here and a subscription there, and they can end up with this spaghetti string of all of this different tech, some of which they even forget that they're paying for subscriptions for. So I think it is really finding someone that can support and work for your business. And I think when it comes to tech, the piece that I always find is the support that's wrapped around that tech. You want someone that's going to be there when you need help and support, whether that's on a Saturday afternoon when you're sitting at the dining room table and you're wanting to build out your first CRM campaign, or you're needing some support with payments and following up on past payments. I think having someone that really does have that tailored support model is really important, because I think for some small business owners, they can jump online and purchase a freemium product, navigate their way through it, move into kind of having a paid sort of software service, and absolutely integrate it into all facets of their business. But for the next business, that can be a really daunting step. And sometimes it's just having a friend or coach on the other side of the phone or on the other side of the live chat to say, you've built it out absolutely correctly. All you need to do is press send on that first campaign, but just giving them that confidence that they've got someone there if they need them.
Yeah, and I've got in the habit these days of when I purchase some software, especially again, everything is
Yeah.
mass in the cloud. I try wherever possible to make sure there's a phone number
Yeah.
I can reach out to, and you've got that, and that's a really, really important thing.
Oh, it absolutely is, because I think knowing that there's a person on the other side, because I think business owners exist at a whole spectrum of sort of sophistication, and really knowing that there is help and support available when you need it is critically important.
Yeah, exactly right. So, okay, we're talking about, these things aren't free, although you do have a free piece of software. So, how do businesses mitigate the expense of all this technology?
Yeah, so we absolutely do have a free software which is called Command Center, that's really a centralized inbox that brings in all of those communication channels online into one seamless experience. But I think looking at the cost of technology, I think technology shouldn't cost you anything. If you're using tech that is costing you time and costing you money and not giving you a return, you're absolutely using the wrong tech. If I look at the example that I was giving you earlier with Megan O'Dell Alterations, her cash flow has turned over 2.5 times what it was 2 years ago. Now, the small investment in technology in the background is nothing in comparison to the benefit that her business has. So I think for a lot of businesses, the measure of success is the benefit on the other side. We've got a customer here in Melbourne, heavy lift forklifts. Now, Fabian has got 15 forklifts, and the measure of success for him is that every one of those forklifts needs to be out and busy every single day. Now, that's kind of the measure of success. So I think back in the day when people were advertising in a newspaper or the yellow pages, you would measure ROI in the context of potentially phone calls or customers that they maybe were manually tracking themselves. The context of ROIs today is, what was the reason that you purchased it? Now, for some people, ROI is really different. And I know, Tony, we were kind of reflecting earlier, for large corporates, that tech may reduce down employee costs. But for other small business owners, they may be doing their invoicing and quoting on the dining room table at 7 o'clock at night
Mm,
rather than having dinner with the family. They may
yeah,
be booking out next week's appointments on a Saturday afternoon rather than going to their son's football game. So I think the measure of success for those businesses is the time saving. But for other businesses, the measure of success is supporting them on that growth trajectory. They're really wanting to take their business to the next level. And I think being there and being able to be part of that process is really exciting.
yeah, exactly right. So, just a final question: is it a good time to start a business?
I actually think there's been no better time for the last few years. I think interest rates are finally kind of coming under control. The economy is in a sort of a more positive and optimistic place. And I think for a lot of people, taking that next step now is the perfect time. And I think with tools and tech to be able to support you in the background, you don't need to be the jack of all trades. You no longer have to be the marketer and the accountant and you can just be the expert in your craft, and to be able to use technology to really support and amplify your business and take it to the next level.
Absolutely correct. All right. So, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think for anyone that would like more information, please jump on to thrive.com.au and we would be absolutely happy to give you a free software demonstration or sign up for Command Center and get access to the free software yourself.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, if you don't have a CRM, you definitely need to do that. you need a way of tracking what's happening and activities, you definitely need to do that. And Thrive can help you to do
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. But
All
no,
right,
thank you for your time, Tony.
great. Thank you, Elise.
Have a great afternoon.